I don't think we have the problem really with the difference between students or young professionals or anyone else like that, where because we operate under a hotel license, we're completely flexible to charge what rents we want and to and really to who we want. So it means more we can dive in and out of that flexible sector, and that's what we think is a real added advantage to us. On the other side, we've got to make sure that we keep we're called the student hotels, so we've got to make sure we focus on students, and that's really where we see the strength and the strong yields that we project come from that stabilized income. But maybe if I can turn this answer into a question, because one of the reasons we started the class was to really highlight the regulations at a government level or a local planning level that restricted student accommodation. And I'm quite interested to hear, Baudouin and Rainer, how you think France and Germany, if the local planners or governments are more understanding of this product and willing to work with you to change or to bend the rules and regulations to allow you to build bigger buildings.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no general answer to that question, Charlie. As we have 16 federal states, you have 16 varying regulations on building, for example. One quite obvious thing is car parks. Yeah, you have legislations, for example, Berlin and Hamburg, you don't need car parks anymore. In others, you still need one parking lot per bed, which is completely crazy. Yeah, and amongst others, those are the main points that we want to address by teaming up our voices within the industry to have a better hear on the politicians' end. And as you know, in Germany, we don't only have the situation of growing student numbers plus growing commuting numbers, we also have this refugee element. And all these fall, let's say, cumulative into a situation where resi is short per se, rents are rising, and on the politician side, you don't see a lot of answers to these questions currently. That varies very much depending on the city you're in, the federal state you're in, but all in all, I think we need a lot of improvement to address these points.
If I can add on to that, I think research is a big part of the institution, that we analyze the market, understand the market together with competitors, together with market players, but also big research institutions. So everyone who is a member can have a good insight into the market.
Just to add a couple of things, it's quite the same in France actually, but we had a general law, a national law, which gives us a little bit more facility, I would say, for the car park, for example, which is now more easy rule we don't need car parks every time or one car park for one room. So that's a good one. But on the other side, we had in the same law a limitation of the rents or limitation of the new rents applied to the students. So, and still, France is a country where you have sometimes national laws that stay for 2 or 3 years, and then it's locally. You have to deal locally your rules with the city or with the community of cities to be able to build institutional student housing, private student housing.
I think only to add one thing, I mean, it's funny, every foreign investor is talking about Germany, that Germany has strong regulations. I mean, when we had a look at the Dutch market, I was really wondering why everyone is telling us that Germany is a very regulated market. So in terms of building permission, yes, and the car parks are a huge problem always, so you have to negotiate that with the city. But in general, it's the first time when you're coming as a developer to the public authorities, you have a very warm welcome in terms of building permission, because everyone is aware that we need these kind of student housing. The funny thing in Germany is that student housing is not related to the German rent regulations. So this is a huge advantage if you compare that with the normal resi approach. That means when you have a fluctuation of 30 or 40% a year, you can always catch up to market rent, and you are not limited by the Miethöhegesetz. That's very interesting.
Do you want to stand up for the Dutch market, Stephen?
I think there are really a lot of positive changes. And to mention a few, we have housing associations that are active in the student housing space, and they have now really been limited to what they can do, and they can also not work for third parties anymore. So I see as a little bit of a issue now with Duo how to solve that. But I think that takes out a lot of false competition because the housing association have relatively cheap sources of funding. So that's a very good dynamic that they are restricted. On top of that, we have the campus contracts, but in 2016, the government is now also introducing short stay up to 1 year contracts, so that you can really operate more in the student model of contracts up to 10 months or a year. On top of that, the government has now allowed for they implemented last year a change in the point system that tells you what the maximum rent is, and actually it's a very transparent system where you can calculate your rent. You can make it in Excel or on the internet do it, and the change in system allows for more points why you can charge higher rents. And now they have even proposed to implement that for cities like Amsterdam and Utrecht. If you do a development there, you get even extra points so that you can get in the free market segment for even student housing units.
Sounds very easy and no regulations.
Yeah, well, I think it's very explainable, and if you take your time, you can get around it. And if you look at the rents we can charge at our properties in Amsterdam, they are higher than some of the quoted rents in Germany. So I think you can really work within the spectrum of everything.